So, this is a burn barrel, so no welcome to Accuracy Third this time.
But you just did it. I'm Rex.
I'm still D-Day, and that's Beth.
Oh, hi, I'm Beth.
And today on Accuracy Third, we have a full-length interview that we released last year. Xeno did Resto and interviewed a whole lot of folks from the Resto team. And this past weekend, one of the voices that you hear on that episode, Happy Max, passed away. Happy Max is not the first guest on this podcast to have died since we interviewed him. My friend Michael M. died during the pandemic, and I was too broken up after that to want to do a little intro and re-release his episode. If you want to go back and listen to the Michael M. episode, it's incredible. He's one of the original folks from the Smut Shack, Bianca's Smut Shack. But this is not about Michael M. This is about Happy Max, a man who was diagnosed with terminal cancer and then decided to do Resto and really take the next several years and live as balls to the wall as he was able to. What an incredibly genial and pleasant guy he was, well past the expiration date given to him by his doctors. But he said a couple things in the interview that I just kind of want to call out as being really important to him and really important to our community, and that really resonated with me when I was listening to his entire interview earlier today to prepare for this intro. Happy Max wasn't a wealthy man, money-wise, as the vast majority of us aren't. But he did point out that he and we and the majority of our community are wealthy in an interesting way. And I think that's kind of a beautiful encapsulation of the thing that DPW is doing, the thing that we're doing in this little shed, the thing that so many of us are doing. We have become wealthy from Burning Man and this community in an interesting way. Not you, Beth. You're poor in an interesting way. And your lungs don't work.
We are aesthetically rich and socially rich. Culturally rich, dirt poor, but also dust rich.
And also he mentions later on in the interview that Burning Man is a rich international community. And I think that's very true, but it's never really been more resonant to me than now as fascism and authoritarianism and xenophobia wash over this country. I think that Burning Man is important because Burning Man is an amazing art project. And I think even in the face of environmental degradation and rising fascism, art is important. Being able to see other people's points of view is important. Creation and community is important. But doing that on the international stage that the Big Burn is, and being in community with people from our country and from other countries, I think that is also incredibly important and valuable and something I want people to keep in mind on their way to the playa and when they're there and when they're back in the default world before and after this year's burn or whatever year's burn it is when you're listening to this.
Remember that fascism is an absolutely hollow movement intellectually. It's entirely aesthetic. And it's aesthetic while appealing on its surface is also hollow and brittle. We win on the aesthetic battlefield.
Are you saying there's no glitter fascists?
I'm
Because I'm
saying they wear it wrong.
We can't keep up with people who use glitter.
Well, glitter's not invited to the burn.
Exactly. What I'm saying is the fascists got us beat as soon as they figure out how to use those glue guns right.
No. Glitter is neoliberal.
I want to thank Xeno. I want to thank Xeno again for taking the time to record all of the voices he did for last year's Burn Barrel. I want to express my condolences to him and everyone in DPW and everyone who knew Happy Max. And I want to thank all of you listeners for going on this decade-long ride with us as we interview our friends and strangers who become our friends and who communicate with us in such a rich way on our Discord and in our email inbox and in our text messages and in our real lives. This is an incredible art project that we've been doing, and I thank you for being a part of it with us. And rest in peace, Happy Max. You seem like you were a great guy, and I'm sorry I never got to meet you. Here's the whole interview with Happy Max and Xeno, and I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you next week for our regularly scheduled episode.
All right. So, this is Xeno, still doing resto. Hope you're not sick of it yet. Got another hook on the line. This is Max. Or I guess, who are you?
Well, I came in 2015 and actually got a Lammy for Mad Max. And then they realized, oh, somebody else, the guy who repairs go-karts, had already taken that name. Although I came by it pretty legit. It was given to me by my friends because I was riding a motorcycle same year as the movie Mad Max, and I had a head-on collision on my motorcycle, just like in the movie, same year as the movie. So they nicknamed me Mad Max. But I'm not an angry person, so
I get that.
You know, it's and then,
very chill.
Yeah, and I was a dispatcher that year, 2015, and I had gone to
Dispatcher
sleep.
for DPW, correct?
Yep,
Okay.
That's right. And yeah, that was really cool. You know, when I got the cancer diagnosis, I called my friends, you know, as people do. And I didn't realize the two of them worked for Burning Man. And they're like, well, we've been inviting you out to Burning Man for years. Like, you know, what's on your schedule? Dying? Like, well, you have no excuse not to come out now. And, of course, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm not exactly working on my career because I'm too tired and exhausted. I was falling asleep under clients' houses doing insulation. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. under a single woman's house. And I'm like, this is not cool. Eventually, it's going to
give off creepy vibes.
Exactly. And like, eventually, they're not going to believe me that I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm so sleepy. I have to eat carrots constantly to drive and not wreck my car.
Huh.
Like something about chewing. If you're chewing something, your body will not let you go to sleep.
Huh.
So I came up with the trick of just...
hazard, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're chewing on anything, you stay awake. So, you know, coffee and all that gets like acid stomach after a while. So I took to chewing on carrots. So yeah, it was getting crazy. You know, I'm falling asleep under people's houses. Not cool. So I go to the doctor. I'm like, I can't keep doing this. I got to figure this out. And, you know, first they said it was a thyroid. Then it's still tired. And then they said, well, we'll do this test. You're kind of young for it, but we'll check it out. And sure enough, it was like PSA score 18. It should be like 1 or 2 at the most.
And what's a PSA score?
PSA is an acronym for prostate-specific antigen. It's a blood test. It gives a rough idea of cancer growth activity. Although that varies by how aggressive it is. The PSA number can be quite low. If the cancer is very aggressive, it doesn't make as much PSA. Kind of backwards. Anyway, I mean, it doesn't always work out that way. So it's only a useful number to that individual person. Like, you can't really compare my PSA with somebody else. Because we have different bodies so it's useful to myself or whoever else is doing it so they get an idea of how they're doing. So mine was 18 and they did the biopsy and they're like, oh, that's Gleason score 9 out of 10. So it's a scale of 10. So I had a 9 out of 10 for aggressiveness. I'm like, oh. So they're like, oh, you got to get that out last week. And I was pretty disappointed with life. I was like, you know, I think I'll just let it recycle me.
And how old were you in that?
49.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really early for prostate cancer. Most guys, if they live long enough, they get it. It's a problematic organ. It's kind of useless, except for storing zinc. It's good for storing zinc, which is a problem with getting over colds.
I thought, doesn't it help regulate, like, urinary tract?
I had not heard that one. But, you know, mine's gone, so it doesn't matter. They took it out. But, I know that the primary thing that I've lost is a zinc reservoir.
Huh.
So whenever there's a cold or flu running around, I need to make sure I've got zinc supplements to make up for the fact that I no longer have zinc storage. So anyway, so I called my friends and they said, oh, well, you should come out. I said, sure, why not? They said, can you come out early and stay late? And I'm like, well, like you mentioned, I'm not exactly working on my career, so sure. And so I got hired to be a dispatcher. So I come here, I told them my name's Mad Max, and they let me have the Lammy. And then they find out when I'm asleep one night that somebody else already has got the name. We have to give them a different name. So they renamed me Happy Max.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Happy?
because I'm coming with cancer, and I'm just like, I'm not an angry guy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, shit happens to people, including ourselves sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so...
and that diagnosis was severe. And
yeah, I mean, it was aggressive. Gleason score 9 out of 10, so it was very aggressive. It's the same version of prostate cancer, to my understanding, that killed Frank Zappa in 3 years.
Yeah.
Prostate cancer commonly doesn't kill people for 20 years.
Okay.
But that's Gleason score 6. Mm-hmm. So I'm following a cancer guru who does his own original research, but he doesn't publish because he's a dentistry researcher. And scientists are very jealous of their territories. If you're a dentist researcher and all of a sudden you're over in cancer, they get very sniffy about that. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, stay in your lane. So he does the research because he wants to live, and then he shares it with us, but he doesn't publish it. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of hoping he'll publish it, maybe
at some point.
At some point, yeah. So he's figured out that the tendons that hold your teeth in have the same molecular structure as the shell of the prostate cancer cell. So he's come up with a series of supplements and other things that makes life really hard on the cancer. And then I submitted myself to the National Institute for Health and to be a guinea pig. And the cool thing is, once you're in the building, there's a terminal that you can do research on that has no subscription blocks, full access to all scientific journals going back to 1969, no subscription blocks. Mm-hmm. And so I started researching and figured out that the casein protein in dairy is absolute rocket fuel for cancer. So when I stopped eating dairy, they originally said, oh, well, now that we got your prostate out, we can see that it already metastasized and it's growing fast enough, it's going to kill you in 3 years. So that's 2018. And you're only going to enjoy this next year. So, plan accordingly.
After that, it's going to be pain and dysfunction. And
yeah, exactly. And so... I didn't fully understand how cancer kills people. Now I do. It just slowly destroys each function that you have until you can't, you lose so many functions you just don't. That's how it works. Like the cancer cells don't have a shut-off function. They just keep spreading and growing. And so they physically or chemically or both disrupt the organs that are organized to do a thing, and the cancer gets in there and messes up that function. Mm. So the cancer ate my L1 and T11 vertebrae at one point, and all I could do, I couldn't even do sit-ups. So just as an example. And I had to rebuild a trailer with no backbone. It took me 6 excruciating days in the middle of nowhere, Colorado. But I did it. Got the trailer home, went in for the scans, and the doctor took me aside and said, well, they take you in the little room where it's bad news. Yeah. And they said, well, yeah, the cancer ate your L1 and T11. And I said, oh, thank goodness. And they looked at me like, are you crazy? You're happy? I'm like, yeah, it's not my liver.
Yeah.
Y'all can just inject epoxy into the bad bones.
Yeah.
And the doctor looked at me like, what? That's how I saved my house. The bricks were coming apart, and I injected epoxy into the mortar to re-solidify the mortar in situ, in place. So I basically re-bricked the house without taking out a single brick.
So, because you get around, it looks like pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the muscles have not recovered, but the bones are fine. Mm-hmm. In fact, I unfortunately accidentally tested that. I was harvesting mulberries at 3 a.m. because I'm heat sensitive, and I fell off the ladder. I slipped and fell about 10 feet onto my back, bent over backwards on a beam in my neighbor's yard that was 8 inches high and 8 inches wide. And I just laid there looking up at the stars for a minute like, oh, this can't be good. Because I felt some kind of pain. So I very slowly rotated, feeling it like, ooh, was that a nerve pinch? Was that a nerve pinch? No. And I finally realized, oh, it's just a broken rib. So I get up and, go back to harvesting. Mm-hmm. But that was great because it proved to me that the kyphoplasty works really, really well. Like it could withstand 10 feet.
So they just rebuilt some of your vertebrae with...
Yeah.
Yeah.
They injected epoxy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I was pretty psyched with that result.
Yeah, so...
So,
you know,
right, back to
you were supposed to be-
2015.
Yeah, supposed to be dead in 2018, and yet here it is, 2024.
I know. I lasted slightly over 3 times as long as they thought I would. And a lot of that's because of Burning Man, because when I came in 2015, I rapidly realized that for me, the workshops are the most amazing part of Burning Man. There are people coming literally from all over the world to give workshops on all kinds of esoteric stuff. And I was hearing stuff I never, ever heard anywhere in default. And I was like, wow, is that true? And then once I got some internet, I'd Google it and I'm like, holy shit, that's true.
Let me just make sure it's still recording, because I'm almost positive it is, but I have PTSD.
Yeah, I dig that.
Yeah, it's still going. Okay, so when the screen goes off,
Yeah, you don't know.
it's still going to go.
Seems
It's
like
still, should have plenty of space.
it. Good.
I'd like to try to keep the screen on.
Well, you could go under settings
Yeah.
and go to screen or something like that. Each phone names things slightly differently.
It's maddening. Just, get. Screen timeout. There we go.
That's it.
It only goes up to 10 minutes. However,
Does it-
I can remember to tap it.
Does it have a do not turn off option?
Not in this. Right
Oh, well.
here.
Yeah, every phone
I know.
is a little different.
Fucking stupid.
On my Samsung, I can just leave it on.
This is a
Of course, the
Samsung.
battery goes dead really quick, but
That is also a factor. All right, so back to it. Hawk to it.
all right. Oh, we're not starting over. Okay.
No. No, I'll just edit that out. Or leave it in. Fuck it. Sometimes people like hearing how the sausage is made.
Right? I mean, the short version is Burning Man saved my life because it introduced me to people and ideas I never had exposure to the point where I decided taking the cancer treatments was worth the hassle, because then I'd get to come back to Burning Man.
And we actually, to my knowledge, I've listened to maybe 96%, 92% of the episodes. I don't think we've had people really focus on the workshops.
See?
Yeah. And so that's another bite at the elephant.
Yeah, right. That is an
I think
elephant.
It's super valuable.
It is an elephant.
It's a grotesque, weird, distended
is.
elephant.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, to me, that the workshops are the most amazing because they're literally world-class people from all over the world come here. I hear more foreign accents here at Burning Man in like 10 days than I hear the entire rest of the year out in default, unless I go to like an international youth hostel. That's the only other place I hear this many foreign accents or other languages being freely spoken. So Burning Man's an international event, and people come here and they give workshops on stuff that just doesn't make it into American consciousness or media. And a lot of it's like literally life-saving.
What's one that either your first one that made you realize that, or maybe another one that you found just amazingly impressive?
Basically, like, for example, they told me I could reset my thyroid. That this I did. Doctors would tell me that, once you've got is it hyper or hypothyroid? I forget which one they diagnosed me with. It was one of those. You got to take levothyroxine the rest of your life. And I came out here and I ran out, and they were telling me how you can reset it. And so I had brought some supplements, and it just turned out stupid luck. I had what they told me about. So I took those. I came out of I ran out of the levothyroxine. I came out, did the blood test. My thyroid was fine. It was fully functional again. And when I went back to my doctor, they looked at it, and their eyes kind of bugged out, and they looked at me, and they said, "You're the first person I've ever seen reset their thyroid." And so it's just been things like that where they just mention different ways of thinking about how to relate to people, different ways to think about how to listen to your own body. A lot of authentic relating has really helped me learn how to connect to people at a somatic level instead of with words. Because I find the words actually... I use words in a way that confuse people sometimes.
Yeah, you and me both. I think probably in different ways, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for one thing, you have a wife, and I don't. So, there's that.
Oh, that's only 3 months old. We'll see how long that lasts.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm
she
kidding.
seems very happy with you right now.
No, we've been dating for 6.5 years.
Oh, nice. Well, she still seems very attracted to you. Mm-hmm. So, just an observation from
in a loud,
a distance.
shouty, stabby way. Attracted, like attracted with points.
Oh, yeah, she's definitely got some spines. But, you also get better traction that way. So,
Yeah.
it comes, everything's got its plus and minus, right? Mm-hmm. No, I've actually come to realize that my mental health really improved when I finally abandoned all reasonable hope for a relationship. Because once I fractured my spine, or actually it turned into mulch, I think that emotional part of my brain finally said, oh, yeah, we really don't have the resources for dating. And who the fuck in their right mind would date a terminally ill patient with 2 forms of cancer and 5 other diseases?
That's a very specific kink.
Yeah, right? Not likely to find that very often.
I mean, there might be a couple out there, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know your odds of finding one.
Yeah, there's Nurse Ratched out there somewhere. But, on the other hand, dying alone is peaceful. So, there's that. I don't fight with people. I'm lonely, but I don't fight with people. So, everything has pluses and minuses. And Burning Man really helped me see a lot of different perspectives. It's like the best summer camp for adults ever. You get to come here and, write your own adventure. Do you want to build shit? Do you want to, have sex? Do you want to, I don't know, go out and eat all the strange food or whatever? It's like there's 70, 80, sometimes 90. Is it almost 90,000? It's like north of 80,000 some of these years. That's a lot of people, and they tend to be really creative people. They tend to be wealthy in the interesting way. I mean, some of them are actually literally wealthy in the money way, but they don't flaunt it. You don't necessarily know who's got money, and it doesn't matter here. It's like they're wealthy in their minds and in their way of looking at the world. I mean, I have very little money, and I got out here.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's ways.
Yeah, there's ways. Absolutely, there's ways. But you have to be wealthy in other ways. So I'm wealthy in the sense that I have the time to spare because I don't have a wife or children. So that makes me wealthy in that sense that I can spare the time. And I knew enough people from I used to build community radio stations, and so I met a lot of people that way. And so, I could just glom onto somebody else's RV coming out when my engine suddenly stripped its threads in the engine block the day before I was going to drive it out. I just call around. I'm like, oh, I'll just hop in this guy's RV. Mm-hmm. So here I am.
The Playa provides.
Even when you're 3,000 miles away. Yeah.
Sucks you in.
It does, actually. Yeah, my mom just doesn't understand. She's like, why do you keep going out there? You had your fun. I'm like,
Right.
Mom, you don't understand. I learned more about being myself with others in a different way in a few weeks here than the entire rest of the year out there. And I feel like I've made more progress in becoming the kind of person I want since 2015 than probably the previous 10 or 20 years. Because this is just such a crucible that squeezes you together like a diamond. You get squeezed under pressure, and it is a really harsh environment. And so, if you wear strange shit to survive, if you did that in default, people would look at you like, what the fuck is wrong with you wearing that weird-ass hoodie thing? Mm-hmm. But here, they're like, oh, how does that work? And they're curious, like, oh, that's a cooling fabric? Wow. Mm-hmm. So they're curious instead of judgy quite so much. And so, you can really just innovate different ways of doing things. Like, I probably wouldn't walk around in default with a parasol stuffed down the back of my shirt and hooked onto my belt.
Yeah, and your fan setup is amazing.
Yeah, out in default, people just look at me like, what is up with you? What a strange unicorn are you? And here they're like, wow, tell me about these crazy fans and how do you do that with the parasol, right?
Well, and
so I love that about Burning Man.
And so you're heat sensitive because of the cancer treatments and cancer itself, and just everyone is heat sensitive.
Yeah,
and
right.
yet you're here doing resto, so you're out in the sun, the direct sun.
Yeah.
Not doing like heavy labor.
I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, no.
No, I
Most of
can't. I
us
can't
wouldn't.
do lifting.
Yeah, but and so like you just have strapped to you.
Yeah.
In various places.
Yeah.
It looks like they're awesome contraptions. I was very impressed.
I almost have my own spacesuit.
Yeah.
It's almost that crazy. Yeah. And at some point I might need to actually rig something up. I've been experimenting with I think they're called Peltier junctions, where one side gets hot and the other side gets cold, to actually pre-cool the air going into my pants and shirt. But I'm not that far along. And here's the crazy thing. People think, like you just said, oh my God, you're heat sensitive and you're out here? Are you crazy? Well, I grew up in Florida and then moved to Virginia, both of which are on the moist coast. Mm-hmm. And the enthalpic heat, that's the fancy word for it, the combination of moisture and heat, it's called enthalpic heat, that's actually what kills people. I mean, until just the temperature's just too damn hot. Like 120 just would kill most people, and 130 absolutely. But I mean, my sweat functions here. It does not function in Virginia in August. Mm-hmm. So it's actually easier on me to be here in the high desert. Also, it cools off at night. Like, it does not cool off in Florida at night. It's just...
Well, the moisture traps the heat and doesn't go away.
Yeah, exactly.
It just sits there.
You got it. That's exactly right. It's just a freaking wet blanket all the time. So I'm a climate refugee. I grew up in Florida, and I no longer can be in the place I grew up except January and February. So I visit my mom in those 2-3 months, like maybe March if it's a cool... But after that, I just can't be outside. So... And... it's no small thing. When my body fails to shed heat enough, it used to be I would pee myself and fall down. I would collapse. Like everything south of the Beltline would just disconnect. And if that happened in the sun, oh my God, was that miserable. I'd have to like drag myself into the shade by my arms. And I finally learned how to listen to my body so I can feel that coming on. I call it getting wobbly, where my legs start
you told
losing.
me the other day.
Yeah, my legs
I still think you should probably give the medics a heads up about that potentiality.
Oh, they know about it.
Okay.
Yeah, they know about it. And King Louis keeps an eye on me because he's used to seeing me get wobbly, and he'll come over and scoop me up.
Yeah, King Louis is really good. He, Daddy Issues had a little bit of heat, not exactly your wobbliness, but it was a little wobbly. And she was, she didn't want to stop working because everyone else is working. And all of us were like, all of us have done this.
Yeah.
All of us have hit that wall.
Yeah, I want to keep being functional, but I've also learned the hard way that if I don't respect my body at a certain level, it's going to fuck me for 2 days. I will be useless for days.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn how to listen to my body. There's a threshold.
And then you have to build back that reservoir. And it takes time. And then not just until you feel fine, but you have to feel fine for a little while.
Yeah, right.
To make sure that...
And then I'm useless.
Yeah.
I hate that, but
King Louis got the AC on his truck because he just sits in his truck. He's doing a job.
Oh, he's absolutely. He's watching people like a hawk for
falling down. And
because people do. I mean, that's why we got medics out here, which is also really amazing, is that I realized that the best way to know how my body's doing is push it to the fail point or close, and then I know where the edge is. So I literally live on the edge on purpose because it's my gauge as to how well are the treatments and the things I'm doing, how well are they really working? Because a lot of what goes on in your body, they don't have a blood test for, they don't have, or they don't care or whatever. So it's up to you to figure it out for each of our own bodies. And, one of the things they taught me at Burning Man at these workshops was listen to your own body. Like, your body has a lot of commonalities with other people, but, yours is yours. And nobody else can do it for you. They cannot do it for you. You have to learn how to listen to your own body. And so, this is the first season where I've been out here and not ended up in Ramparts or at Renown. Of course, the season's not over, but...
Renown?
Oh, that's the hospital in Reno. Yeah. Yeah, I've managed to somehow end up in the ER every single season except this one. And I think it's because I've really learned a lot, partly from the workshops and partly from just having a sense of confidence that there is information out there that is not hidden, but it is buried. And it's not the same thing. It's not censorship. It's buried. And so you got to go dig it up. And you have to have a good sense. You have to develop a good sense for garbage versus useful information. So, my journalistic training taught me the 5 W's and overt reference, bibliographic reference to sources are all signs of a good source to consider. But even then, you get your one source and you read a thing, and then you get another source and you read a thing that's similar, and you're like kind of comparing them like, where are the external and internal inconsistencies in these two reports? Because, humans are human. There's always going to be some mistakes or cock-ups or just oversights. They just happen.
And just, you're using the source for a particular reason, and that's what you want to crib from. And you build your own narrative, or you already have a narrative that sort of supports.
Oh, yeah. I have a whole huge folder full of narratives trying to figure out this body. But yeah, the way you really know, I mean, that's why people go on like Outward Bound. That's why people go to these like extreme adventures, is to find out where their edge is. Because when you find your edge, now you know what you are capable of, what your body can do, and it can surprise you. You could be like, wow, I had no idea I could do that. And, we've all heard stories. I've never experienced this, but we've heard stories of like a child gets trapped under a car and a mom lifts the car off the kid. And it turns out there's actually scientific reason for that. The human body is designed first and foremost for survival, not for doing cool shit for other people. So normally, your body will not let you fire off all your muscle fibers. And the reason is it keeps a reserve. Like if you're really trying to do a thing and you're getting really tired, it wants to keep a little backup for when the tiger shows up. You could still run. If you used up all your muscle fibers and they were all full of lactic acid and the tiger shows up, that's it, end of that genes pool. So when you have something like, oh shit, my child's trapped under a car, then the body's like, all right, turn off the safeties, use all the muscle fibers.
Nice.
And then you get what seem like impossible feats. They're not impossible. It's just that we don't live on the edge that often to know where the edge really is for our particular body at that particular time. And so Burning Man has EMTs around almost all the time. So it's safer here to push that boundary here than most places in default where there's nobody looking out for you. If you crash and burn, that's it. You're just food for somebody's angry dog or, roving bands of horrible people, or maybe you just die of exposure. I mean,
yeah, it's amazing how many people don't realize how many eyes are scanning for accidents and trouble. It's not just the Rangers. There's a whole system.
I know. That's one of the reasons I come back. I want to test my body each step of the way to see how's it doing. And it has gotten a lot harder. Like, I can't carry things upstairs of any significant weight anymore. I have to either wear them on my backpack or drag them up the stairs or have somebody help me. Like, my muscles just are not recovering from every time I lose muscle mass. I've probably lost 60% of my strength and 80% of my stamina, but I'm not going to sit around waiting to die in some hospital bed. I'm like, what's the point of that? I'm just using up resources for nothing. No, I'd rather die out here doing cool shit. And no, I just kept trying. And I'm just, my mantra now is damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead.
Yeah. Fully.
And that's actually based on a real, do you know about that?
Well, I know the quote. I thought it was from a movie, but I guess it's from an actual...
Well, it's been used in a movie, I believe, but it is an actual quote. And since you can edit, I thought I might be accurate.
This is called Accuracy Third. You can just make stuff up.
Yeah, except that I like accuracy.
No, I'm kidding. That's a get out of jail free card. Officer,
yes.
We were just making jokes. This thing's never happened. It's all a lie.
Right. I need to update my... There it is, Farragut. I forget if it was captain or what. He got several... here it is.
Gate! You're welcome. Sorry.
That's okay. Hence editing.
Yes. Or that might be the best part.
Since I didn't note which title he had at the moment he said it, I'm going to just say he's a Union officer in the Navy, because that's accurate. At one point, he became the Navy's first admiral, and he's Hispanic, by the way. And he won the sea victory for the Union because he was invading Mobile Bay, right? Mobile and Alabamistan. And, the Confederates had mined the harbor. They called them torpedoes back then.
Gotcha.
See, nowadays a thing... Yeah, I know.
Did they have, torpedoes?
No, they don't have torpedoes as we know them.
Right.
They had stationary things that we now call mines, and at that time they called them torpedoes because they didn't have they didn't have motor-driven propellers.
Of course.
Well, not the kind that we know. I mean, they had like little experimental steam things and whatever, but nothing that could compactly fit into... They didn't have any such tech at that time. So they mined the harbor, and Farragut's flotilla, one of them hit a mine and exploded in front of all of them, and they're like, ooh, I don't know about this. So he moved his ship to the front
Yes.
and said, we're doing this, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead.
And that's leading from the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they won. And so that was the last major port of the slave monsters. That was it. They lost their access to the sea in any significant way at that moment. So that was a really key moment in the bending of the curve of justice in world history. Was that moment that he said, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead." And that's what I feel like. I feels like that's my mantra. You know, people say, "Oh, if you challenge the fossil fuel industry, they're going to kill you." And I'm like, I got 5 other diseases ahead of them. Get in line. Yeah. Like, what are they going to do? Threaten me with death? I'm not afraid. I don't have a wife or child they can threaten. I got no reason not to just put every bit of energy I can spare into saving the phytoplankton.
And so, broad strokes, phytoplankton, what's going on with them?
Okay. So here's the roughly 2-minute version, then we can expand as you like.
Yeah.
We are repeating the Permian mass extinction pattern of an increase in the carbon dioxide at a faster rate. And that's the key word, rate. Don't get distracted by the parts per million. Look at the rate of change. So the rate of change is so high that the phytoplankton that we currently have in the ocean cannot adapt to the increase in acidity caused by the increased carbon dioxide in the air. A raindrop falls through the carbon dioxide and collects some of that as carbonic acid. It's an acid, so it falls in the ocean, which is alkaline, which is the opposite of acid, or basic. Some of you might know it as basic. So by making the ocean less alkaline, you are acidifying the ocean, and that's why it's called ocean acidification. So the problem is that the phytoplankton are these tiny little one-celled critters that have a calcium shell. The calcium shell requires an alkaline environment. As you make it more acidic, you literally eat the shells of the phytoplankton. Hence, there are fewer of them. And so they've shown that the tropical oceans have lost 40% oxygen production in just the last 50 years. That is a steep curve into mass extinction. We don't need IPCC models. Don't need to argue over them, because I'm like, just look at the geological record. We are repeating the Permian mass extinction. You want to know what's going to happen? Look at what already happened. Not we personally, humans, but the planet already ran this experiment, and it results in the death of the vast majority of all oxygen-breathing life. But unlike the Permian mass extinction, which was caused by a sudden outburst of extravolcanic activity above and beyond the normal level, because Earth is a volcanic place, and the systems have adapted to that, we are making this extra carbon dioxide by extracting ancient carbon from under the ground that was stuffed there by nature eons ago, for a good reason, because that's what worked for nature. And so nature got used to there being lower carbon dioxide levels, and all of a sudden we're just dumping so much so quickly that the phytoplankton, they just can't catch up. You know, so there will be a percentage of phytoplankton that will adapt, but it won't adapt fast enough to save oxygen-breathing life, because it's the phytoplankton.
Yeah, you have to run evolution on a larger time scale.
Yeah.
And that's why the rate matters.
Exactly. The rate is the most important thing. An analogy I use is everybody's in traffic. You're all going 70. I know the speed limit's 65, but F it. We're all going 70. Everything's fine. Nobody's hitting anybody. We're all breaking the law, and it's okay. All of a sudden, somebody decides they want to take the exit, so they start slowing down as they move off to the side. You're in a hurry. You know, you're not really all that safety-minded, so you step on the gas to pass them. All of a sudden, they change their mind and swerve back into, bam, you get a wreck. It's because the rate of speed change caused the wreck, not that you were going 70 miles an hour. So the fact that that we're well over 400 parts per million, all by itself is not a problem, because we have indeed had times in Earth's history where it was like closer to 1,000 parts per million, and there was life. But it moves so slowly, everything could adapt, and we're moving too quickly. That's really the problem. We're just moving too fast. And so at this point, we have to actually extract carbon from the air if we're going to keep a livable planet for us, the oxygen-breathing life. Luckily, we can. University ETH in Zurich has been funded for open source science to use a common lens polishing compound called cerium oxide. It's mined in Eastern California. It's mined all over the world. You can buy it on eBay, or what's his name? Bezos.
Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. You can buy it on Amazon for like $2 a pound. And it's a catalyst, which means you don't use it up. It catalyzes a reaction. You just buy a batch and you use it, and you just keep using the same batch.
It triggers something else in other chemicals and stays.
Well, it stays the same. current iterations, it does flake off, so you have to like paste it back on. But this is fresh technology. This technology is so cutting edge. It's where photovoltaic panels were in, say, the 1950s and 60s. Like, only NASA can afford it. But yet now, power from PV panels are actually cheaper than coal and nuclear. Right? But of course, not right away. Right? At first, there were only two major groups that could afford PV panels. There was the government, and there was another group that I'll let you guess for a little while that actually pushed the envelope for affordable solar. Yeah. I'll give you a hint. If you were to grow a thing that sells for a lot of money, but you don't want the cops to subpoena your power records...
Growers.
Yeah.
Yeah, pot growers.
Growers would get a house, they would have a normal electric bill, they would run all the normal house things, but all the grow lights would be off PV panels, so that they don't trigger a subpoena search warrant.
Yeah. Cops look for, like, spikes in...
Exactly, right? So don't spike the power bill. And so they could afford PV panels that at that time were just super outrageously expensive, but they had such a profit margin on the drugs. They're like, yeah, whatever. It keeps us out of trouble. It's just the cost of business. And so the boss that I actually learned solar panel technology installation from, he actually has one of the old panels that the drug dealers used back in the 60s. And it still has 80% of its original power production. So that's a 1960s panel.
Yeah.
Now, in 2024, that still has 80% of its power production. So when people say, well, how long do they last? The actual answer is we don't actually know.
Right, because they're still going.
Yeah, well, it turns out the thing that kills solar panels is the quality of assembly. It's not the solar cells. It's how well did you encase them in laminated glass to keep corrosion and stress fractures from happening. If it's really well protected and it doesn't flex a lot, then as long as it's electrically connected, it just keeps making power for who knows.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's a diode. Basically, they're light-sensitive diodes. And we've had solid-state diodes since, like, the early 50s. And we've had vacuum diodes since the 20s. And a lot of those still work. So, I mean, they could last longer than human civilization. As long as they don't get a stress fracture.
Yeah.
So what kills them is actually physical stresses, not anything electrical. Anyway, I digressed.
This was the 2-minute version.
Yeah, I did kind of go over 2 minutes. But you also said we had an hour, so...
Oh, yeah, fully. No.
I apologize, I'm rambling
No,
a bit.
I'm just making a joke.
Oh, that's fine. You're right, I did go over 2 minutes. I did embellish a bit, but I hope that it's a useful embellishment because a lot of people say, oh, well, how much does it cost? Like, it's got to be cheaper than oil from the ground. That's only true if you're competing mano a mano with oil from the ground. There are places where oil is so outrageously expensive that it starts to make sense. And I'll give you an example again from photovoltaic panels. When I installed solar panels from about 2008 through 2012, we had a lot of clients that lived up in the mountains. And so a PV system of not even very large size, 20 kilowatts, would cost like $50,000, $70,000 at that time, much cheaper now. Like $70,000, and then you had to buy batteries. That was another $5,000, and you had to have a charge controller. There goes another $2,000, and so on, right? So it was expensive as hell. It would never compete in town, but they're not in town. They're up on a mountain where Dominion Power was going to charge them $70,000 just to run the line, not even to hook it up, not even for the power bill, none of that stuff. And at that point, it suddenly becomes cost competitive. So, just like with the drug dealers, every technology has to have somebody who has a reason to push the boundaries, even though it's expensive. And most technologies that have ever succeeded, they had some group that did that. I mean, cars originally were ridiculously expensive. Why the hell would you buy a car when you had a horse that could run just as fast and it fed itself? You got drunk, you fell asleep on the horse, it takes you home. We had self-driving technology called a horse long before the car. Right? Why would you do that? Well, some people wanted to push the envelope, so they did. And now cars are cheaper than horses.
So how do we save the phytoplankton then?
Well, because the cerium oxide system from University ETH in Zurich, and I say that because I believe in citing my sources when I know them. Also, my doctor gave me 22 to 62 left to live, so I want people to know so that, even if they hear this after I'm gone, they know what to look up. Cerium oxide starts with a C, and the rest of it's phonetic. So what they found was they take a bank of mirrors and they focus the sun's light on a tower. It heats up the cerium oxide to 1500 degrees. They feed moist air in one end. The cerium oxide breaks the bonds of the water that's in the moist air and the carbon dioxide into carbon monoxide, free hydrogens and oxygens. And of course, the rest of the inert atmosphere goes along for the ride, but that's irrelevant. So you feed that then into basically a fancy kind of distillery called a redox chemistry set, reduction oxidization, and you set that up to make long carbon chains or to make different carbon chains. So, for example, redox systems have been in use since World War II, when there was a high need for kerosene out at sea or maybe at a war field somewhere, and they couldn't ship the oil. Like, the enemy just kept wiping out the ships. So they would make the kerosene out of coal or other things. And so, there were cars back in World War II that used coal and or wood gasification that was on the car to power the car. So the only thing that's new about the cerium oxide system is the cerium oxide. Everything else is established, proven technology. We've had focused mirror sets since the Greeks used it to set another fleet aflame from shore 3,000 years ago. So there's nothing new about like banks of mirrors. That's a known technology.
Is Archimedes?
I think I'm not absolutely sure on that, but I know it was one of the Greeks that and actually they think that might be apocryphal.
Yeah.
But there's other people that think there's proof that it really happened. But even if it's apocryphal, it means they knew about the concept. So the concept of focused mirrors, or actually you can focus a mirror, of focused light from mirrors, called a heliostat, is old proven tech at this point. And the cerium oxide is a common compound. The idea of redox chambers is as old as World War II. So we already have the means to extract carbon from the air and make diesel and jet fuel from it. And what's exciting about that is two parts. Part one is you close the loop and stop getting oil from the ground to burn. Mm-hmm. You're still burning it. You're still putting the carbon back in the air, right? It's a closed loop. But that's important.
But it doesn't
It's a closed
increase.
loop. That's right. It stops making the problem worse. And here's the other problem. Who the hell's going to volunteer to put a lithium battery the size of what into a 747 jet and fly all the way across the Atlantic on a lithium battery? I mean, those things are famous for catching fire. Can you imagine being halfway across the Atlantic and the thing starts blazing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 'cause it's like cell phones can kill people.
Right. Yeah, and they won't even let you take the cell phones in the check-in luggage, much less they want to power the whole jet from that. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. And then the airport would have to have like its own nuke plant to recharge all these aircraft. I just don't see that happening anytime soon. And the cool part is it doesn't have to. We can make diesel and jet fuel from the air using the sun, and just like that, the jet is solar. And it's solar using the same liquid fuel it's already designed for. So you don't have to change the jet. You don't have to change the tank trunks, the trucks, the pumps, the valves. All that stuff is the same. You're just getting the oil from a different location. Everything else is the same. So, some right-wing redneck dude likes to roll coal and, show the libs. He's driving a solar truck and he doesn't even know it. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to know it. Mm-hmm. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
So we win because we, oxygen-breathing life, win because if they're using sky-sourced oil, now we stop getting it out of the ground. Now we're still going to get oil because we use oil for so many processes other than burning. And that's what's also exciting about this technology. It makes oil from the air. Trees also make oil from the air. When they talk about biofuels, that's basically we're mimicking a tree, but instead of growing the thing, harvesting the thing, carrying the thing somewhere else, fermenting the thing, processing the thing, and then moving it again, that all consumes fuel and energy. Or with the cerium oxide, you just do it all in one tower, all in the same spot. And it could be on the roof of a Walmart. It could be on a lake. It doesn't have to compete with ground that has vegetation. And to me, that's very key, because as human population increases, we keep invading the natural areas to grow food. That's going to end up being a disaster sometime. I don't know when. I don't have the power to predict that. But, I mean, you can just see, you can't just keep extending that plot line. So the stupidest thing to do would be to compete with food area or natural vegetated area to make biofuel. I think it's a farce. Honestly, it's just like if you look into ethanol, it's an absolute disgusting farce. And as a person who's, I'm big into gearheads. I've souped up. I mean, I had a Volkswagen bus that I souped up to the point where I literally won drag races in the 1/8 mile against American muscle cars. And I could tell you in detail how to do that, and I love the look on their face when they got smoked and walked by a bus, a Volkswagen bus with a 4-cylinder air-cooled engine. They're like, how the fuck did you do that?
Nice.
I'm like, well, I could tell you, but, you know.
Well, but then you could win.
Y'all, do you know what the trick is? They're not going to do what it takes. I tell people and they don't do it. And I mean, I, from an early age, I just learned how to work with technology as it was. And like I had a Volkswagen Jetta that just before I unfortunately inhaled a bunch of water and blew the side of the motor out from what's called hydrolocking, which I'm really bummed about. It was dark, rainy. I didn't see the puddle in time. It was 8 inches deep. It was just confluence of all the worst possible moments. And so, but I had gotten up to reliably 57 to 67 miles per gallon, and I would fit a nacelle into the rear of the car using the trailer hitch. I would take the hitch off and put a platform on and then shape the airflow to a point. And I could get 74 miles per gallon in a 5-passenger car. Just a regular piston engine car, not a hybrid, nothing fancy. And so, you know, there's so many answers that are already out there for us that we already have the means at our disposal now. I got 29 miles per gallon in that car pulling a 2,000-pound RV. So, you know, when I look at these RVs and they're getting 8 miles per gallon, I'm like, that's not necessary. I mean, I've already done it. It's just, I don't know what the hell's wrong with our society where we just don't value efficiency.
Yeah.
And, you know, they'll say, oh, well, it costs more. Yeah, it does cost more up front. Diesel engine absolutely will cost you more up front. But unless you're going to only drive it 20 or 30,000 miles, it's going to pay for itself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you run the math, if you convert dollars per mile, you just, you know, instead of looking at gallons, dollars per gallon, you know, do your math to make it dollars per mile, and you'll see that unless there's rare occasions where diesel's just super overpriced, but in most cases, it's still cheaper to drive a diesel. And they have so much greater pulling power that, to me, it's worth it because it's just such an amazing thing to drive. You get full power at like 1,600 RPM. So you almost don't even need to change gears unless you're just lugging it down to 900 RPM. And nothing works well at 900 RPM. There's no piston engine that works great at 900 RPM unless it's a locomotive motor, and you're not driving one of those. So it's irrelevant to most of our existence. Yeah, so, you know, that's the thing about it. I know I can build the cerium oxide system for America because I've already tweaked other existing technologies to do great things. And I've got, I don't have any like overt paper credentials, but I've just built a lot of systems of engines and PV systems. I built a solar thermal array that was 70% efficient. Virginia Tech researched it, and there's nothing exotic about it. It's different. It's just how you tweak the system, how you work with the existing technology. It's not anything special.
And yet, you're here, walking a line, picking garbage, putting your life at risk, or getting close to the edge to see where the edge is.
My life's actually more at risk in Virginia from the humidity.
I bet.
Yeah, and I don't have a EMT hanging around.
Yeah, it's true.
But yes, it is life-threatening out here. It is. Yeah.
And so, what do you find valuable about walking the line?
Well, I think of it as a, you know, for me, it's a little break. I can do something that's good for the environment, that's, well, better for the environment, cleaning up the desert. It's a nice little break from just rushing back into a default. I guess in a way, resto's sort of my decompression. And, you know, the problem with most smart people, including myself, is that we're morons when it comes to emotional and social intelligence. And the sooner you realize that and start working on it, the sooner you realize, oh, you can actually learn to be more intelligent. Like you can actually hone the things that we call intelligence. They're not static. You're not born with a certain level of intelligence. And the researchers that are into this kind of thing Some of them think there's 8 different types of intelligence. Some of them have different numbers, but there's many different types of intelligence. There's kinesthetic intelligence, like you know what things feel like and how to move things a certain way. There's body spatial awareness, where like ballet dancers or like acro yogis, they just know exactly where they are in space with their body in relation to the other person. They could do these amazing dances. That's a different kind of intelligence. So, I have really good cognitive and mechanical intelligence. And so one of the great things about Burning Man is it's given me an opportunity to work on my emotional and social intelligence. And frankly, I think Burning Man is the place that I have access to where I'm most likely to find the team that can build the cerium oxide system for America. I mean, I'm sure there are quote-unquote better places, but I don't have access to those places. And here, I'm not in the Borg or anything like that, but enough people know me that, I'm a known factor. They understand what I'm trying to do, and sometimes they help me, and sometimes they don't. Most of the time, they don't care because they're busy with their own shit, because that's humans. And I'm gonna pitch my tent here, so to speak, and say I'm gonna try it here because this is the best chance I think humanity's got, at least in North America, to build the systems here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I hope that happens. I hope that works. Many more years to you, but it sounds like if there's shorter years, then you're okay with that. And
I mean, it's going to happen regardless.
Of course.
All I can do is bend the curve, shave the edge, which I do
and
every
educate
day.
people about it and tell them how to do it.
Exactly. And the idea is the more people that know about it and the more people try different ways, the better. Because we have to stop adding carbon to the atmosphere. We've got to extract it or it's game over. So when people say, oh, well, it's not affordable, I'm like, what? Like, everything that your ancestors ever lived and died for becoming dust. Is that not worth something?
Nice. I think that's a great place to cap it off, unless there's anything specific.
I guess I'd like to leave my email address.
For listeners?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you print that or both or what.
We can.
Yeah.
There's a summation. There's the podcast notes go out, and we can absolutely put that in all of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's solar2themax@gmail.com. So that's SOLAR, the number 2, D as in dog, MAX as in max @gmail.com.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you don't have like a website or a Facebook
I
presence?
just bought a
or...
URL before I got out here, and the internet was so terrible out here, I didn't build the
I'm
website.
familiar.
But
well, I mean, for future listeners,
yeah, I
could
could send you the URL.
Sure.
I actually forgot exactly how I phrased
That's
it.
okay. Yeah.
I bought it
I've
like
been there.
literally just before I came out here, and then I'm like, wait a minute, how did I phrase that?
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for talking with me. Yeah.
Excellent.
Feel pretty good about it.